Latrice Coy from Atlanta, Georgia, and Veron Clark from Washington, D.C. about unlocking the key to life. Ezel unlocked the key to his life. He's the founder of Ezel Consulting and a partner with the Etuan Moore Foundation. Veron is consistently inspiring others with her work and drive. She's worked with CBS Radio as a promotions and community engagement specialist, as well as an operations manager for Legends. She's now the entertainment community operations consultant for Win. Latrice is a true leader. She's currently working with the Boys and Girls Clubs of America as a national director in sports and experiential relationships. Everyone, welcome to the conference.
Thanks for having me.
All right, hello, Latrice.
Thank you for having me.
Hello, hello, Veron and Ezel. There we go. We've got
everybody.
Okay, so we're gonna get right into it. What are the benefits of keeping a balance between school, education, and life experiences? And I'm gonna throw this question right over to Latrice.
Well, definitely you want to keep a balance so that you have some type of school life balance. You want to get your schoolwork done. You want to make sure that you're doing the things that you need to do to progress, but you also want to have that time to hang with your friends or hang with your family and do something that's not always keeping you so grounded in schoolwork. You got to have that balance so that you don't get burnt out, because as adults, we get burnt out from working all the time. So you've got to have that balance.
And so, Veron, what would you say to that?
Yeah, she hit it right on the head. Having balance is so necessary. And nowadays, the buzzwords of mental health and things of that nature is extremely important. But just to give you all some tangibles, if you're, meditating or if you're reading books, find something that you absolutely love that has nothing to do with your work. That can help you find some balance when it comes to just just your productivity, your overall just attentive to details. She really hit it, to be honest. She really hit it. But overall, my perspective would definitely be get something that or find something that you have that has nothing to do with your work, but it's still equivalent to your heart posture and things of that nature.
Ezel?
And those two ladies spoke on it very well. Balance is important, knowing your priorities. So trying to have your goals and what's important. Okay, what's kind of next in line? Is it my education first, my family, my extracurriculars, have everything in life? Is it your faith life, whatever it is? Have balance amongst your priorities. And then don't let anybody put you in a box. Even though you might be committed, you might be great in one area, but you might try something totally different too as well. You never know what you may be good at and trying different things and figuring out this is not for me, this is me. But don't let anybody put you in a box. Being open and being balanced and not having too much on your plate, but keeping busy. And again, the same big thing as those ladies said, it's definitely important to have that balance.
You all are really dropping some gems. So I want to go back to something that both Veron and Latrice said. And so, you both mentioned preventing burnout, but also practicing mental health. And so what are some things that you all do to kind of prevent burnout? And so I'll start with you, Ezel, this time.
Mine is exercising and reading. Those are kind of my two times. I've noticed that the day gets chaotic. So even though I'm not a morning person, forcing myself to get up in the morning before everybody else does and spending, even if it's just 20, 30 minutes in silence while the house is quiet is important for me. But whatever that self-care is for yourself, you got to make sure you take time to do that, because you can run yourself and you break down. So, but for me is some type of reading or some type of exercise and having to get up early in the morning to get that done.
All right, thank you. And Veron, what are you recommending for us? We can't hear you.
I'm sorry. I love to travel. I love to people watch. I'm someone who I love to be immersed in my work, But if I can get away, right, just get away from whatever that may look like, traveling has been fantastic in my regards. Also, my safe place is in my car. I know this is weird, but I love to just sit in my car, and my best thoughts literally come from in my car. So again, I think find what's good for you, find what's your safe haven, and just stick with it.
Quick, what's your favorite place to go when you're in your car?
Oh no, like literally I will park out front of my house and just and just think in my thoughts and just soak in my thoughts. So yeah, I'm not sure why is it that way, but I will literally pull up and I can spend an hour, 2 hours just in my car thinking and just relaxing and soothing. So I don't know if that works for anybody else, but
I love it. I don't know if we have Latrice. All right, so we're gonna keep going. Hopefully we can get Latrice back on pretty soon. And so what I want to ask you all, so, education, it comes in many forms. What has worked the best for you all throughout your life? And so I'm gonna throw this one over to Veron.
yeah, experience for me. I have my master's at Georgetown University, a prestigious institution. Education has always been the root of progression within my career. However, there's no educational piece like experience. So when you get in the weeds of whatever it is that you love to do, and you immerse yourself in Google or that YouTube, but being immersed in the actual acts of what it is that you want to do, I'm telling you, that's the biggest education piece.
Giselle.
Mine has progressed over time, but it's been reading, and that's something that it's funny because as a child, I had that passion for reading. Then it kind of went away, and I got through that teenage years where it didn't seem as cool to do. But then as I got into undergrad, I just started to realize the importance of reading and how you can just get drawn into a book. It could be a book of how to learn how to do something. It could be a motivational book, educational books, different types of readings, and just how I've just kind of grown used to it, and trying to do that same thing for my children, just having that passion to learn, which hasn't always, I've gone through my ups and downs when it comes to that, but just reading is really just the key to opening up a lot of doors. Sometimes it's just knowledge that I didn't have. I was a first generation college student. Some things my parents didn't know. So sometimes it was things you just had to read and learn up on how to do certain things and figure it out. So that's just always been a big part, just trying to read as much as I can.
Do you have like a general education recommendation for a book you may want to share with us or for the youth?
Well, right now, because I've been teaching. I just started doing some adjunct teaching at the local university here. So I've been indulged in I've been teaching in sports psychology and sports sociology areas. So I've been reading this book that was written by the O'Bannon brothers, was talking about his rights to his likeness and image, and just talking about how he felt like, his likeness being used in video games and things like that right now. And I've been using that in my class to teach about talking about NCAA and athletes having their rights to their likeness and their image. So that's kind of what I've been reading. That's mainly it right now, just kind of getting prepared for class.
I hear you, and that's a whole nother conversation that we could have. I'll tell you right now about likeness and images. Okay, so we've got experience, we've got reading. So now I'm coming over to you, Latrice. What has been your most useful or most impactful form of education?
Usually for me, my most impactful form of education has been just going out and doing things. So if there's something that I'm interested in, I want to find a way, like, can I do this? Let me explore it. Let me figure out what it is and see if I can do it. Especially when you're talking about getting ready to go to college or trade school or whatever, you want to see, hey, is this something that I'm really interested in when you're getting ready, especially to pick whatever your career in life is that you want to do. I try to explore those things to make sure that it's something that I'm really interested in and want to do.
So what have been some things that you may have explored in life? Was what you're doing now the first career path that you explored, or did you just fall into it? Talk to us a little bit about that. I see you
So
shaking your head.
I thought I was going to work in radio and television for my whole life. But once I got out of college, I did do both of those things. I learned early on that radio was a different kind of business, especially when you come to a major market like Atlanta. And then I worked in television for a few years, but then I had my daughter and I couldn't work nights. So I ended up working in nonprofit with the American Cancer Society. Then I went to the Association of Black Cardiologists, where I kind of fell into the PR side. Then I went to Boys and Girls Clubs of America and started working with a bunch of corporate partners. So a lot of my corporate partners are in the sports arena. So it just kind of transitioned from doing one thing to PR to experiential opportunities, making sure that our kids have opportunities to do things that they wouldn't otherwise do, like deliver the game ball to the mound at the World Series.
Wow. And so, it's funny because one of the other conversations that I was having today was someone who was in a transitional phase in their life. And then the other conversation that I was having was about someone saying that, the reason that you may be in where you are in your life is because you just have to be open to saying yes. And so do you feel that applies to a lot of your opportunities? Is that you are where you are, one, because of your experience, but because you were just able to say yes?
Absolutely. Because I started out just working with corporate partners and transitioned into sports and alumni and entertainment. So, and I love football. So it was a perfect fit for me because I enjoy sports. So it just kind of was a natural transition and progression. So.
And so I'm going to throw that question to everybody else on the panel. I'm going to go over to Veron. How important do you think it is to be just open-minded when it comes to just job searching?
Yeah, I think that it's very important to be open-minded. However, I think we should also be strategic though, right? We should really want to, I think a lot of people are willy-nilly and just kind of want to go with the flow. But if you interested on looking deep inside, exactly what is it that you want to do? What are some of your natural skills and gifts, right? And then you can naturally try to figure out, okay, well, this is the lane that is the least resistant for my skills. And I think sometimes we just say yes to anything because we want to maybe please someone, or we want to please a parent or a mentor or whoever, instead of doing that internal work first, right? And then you look up, you're maybe 40, 50 years old, and you're like, wait a minute, I've never really wanted to do this in the first place. So I think that, yes, having that will to go out there and experience different things, but first do the work. And when I say do the work, do the internal work so that you won't have to look up these years down the line and say, hey, I want to do a pivot, which is okay, right? There's people that do pivot and things of that nature. But if you do the internal work first, you won't have to backtrack and try to figure out, okay, what's the next phase in my life, right? Even though we do go through phases and things of that nature, but I really think true change within an industry is when you can have some longevity and you can have some stake within that particular field. So
we're dropping gems today. Okay, so we've got say yes, but do the work. Ezel, what are your thoughts?
Wow, Veron, she dropped a major nugget alert on that one. Doing the work early to figure out what are you called to do. She's on point with that. I always quote that says, Mark Twain, the two most important days of your life is when you're born and when you figured out what you're called to do. And when you figure that out, it's no longer work almost, right? I kind of figured that out when I started at my alma mater and I was playing basketball. My coach asked me if I was interested in being an admissions recruiter. So going out to the high schools and recruiting those students to come to our university. And I was like, that's it. That's what I'm called to do. I need to be in education. I want to make an impact on the young people. I want to drop those nuggets and give them that information and help change their paths and their lives, like I was able to. So that was it. I figured out my calling. So I've been in education ever since. So the last 18 years, it's been different forms and fashions on different sides of the desk and different things, but I've always been in education, and it's just, it's me, it's where I belong. So that's it.
And I love that. And so I'm gonna throw that back at everybody else. Veron, when did you know that you're doing what you're supposed to be doing? When did you know your calling?
Wow, that's a great question. So just for everybody who's on the call, so I'm a social impactor. I impact communities to inspire, connect, and sustain them to think bigger, stronger, better than what they've, before. I knew this was the line of work that I wanted to get into, and was passionate about. I was Miss Central State University, right, for my college. And at the time, there was a young lady. I didn't know this young lady. She was sitting, I was always that person who looked at the oddball out of the group and try to figure out why are they the oddball, right? And I could remember she was sitting there over there in the corner by herself. And I went over there and she's crying, she's bawling, she's crying. I'm like, why are you crying? She was like, I don't feel like myself. I don't feel like I'm, people see me. I don't feel like I can be who I came to be. And at the time, I'm this person who is the Miss Central of the college or whatever have you. I'm a tomboy. I play ball. I was literally the opposite of what everybody thought the missus should be. And when I seen that person couldn't be who they chose, like who they really desire to be, I knew I don't ever want someone else to feel that way, right? So I've found out later on in my career, that this is the lane that I wanted to be in, but I always knew I wanted people to feel a certain way when they interact with me, right? So, and I always thought like businesses don't run businesses, people run the businesses, right? So if the people are good, right? Or if the people feel as if they're invested into the organization, overall your mission is going to be better, right? So I pride myself on being a social impact, on inspiring people to be exactly who they choose to be, right? So I hope that wasn't long-winded, but that was
No, it was impactful. Yeah, and you definitely are a social impact leader. That was impactful. Thank you. And so, Latrice, we heard from you on your story and how you came into public relations. But how did you know that that's really what you wanted to do?
I really knew that was what I wanted to do when I started mentoring young women when they were 10, and they're all now 30. So being able to just expose them to a number of things, take them to places they had never been outside of their own hometown, and being able to do that and expose them to people and expose them to different avenues of where they could go with their careers. That's when I knew that I was doing the right thing, not only for me, but for them as well. And to be able to just share that knowledge with them and say, hey, when you guys get older, you need to give back as well. Do what we're doing for you, do for somebody else.
Okay. So what's one thing you were educated on that helped you moving forward? And so I'm going to start with Veron.
And I found this out later in my career. I'm not that old, guys. I'm only 28. However, finding a mentor is so pivotal to your career. And I'm not gonna lie, I was prideful. I said, hey, I can do this. I can do it without anyone. I can try to make the steps. I don't want to burden anyone, right? I don't want to think that I'm pushing the envelope of someone who doesn't really want to help. But ultimately, guys, it's imperative to find a mentor, because why do the extra work when they probably already did? How can I put this? They've already did the loops and the challenges. So why not tap onto someone who's been through the struggle, so now you don't have to make the same mistakes, right? And it's a two-way street, right? So a lot of people just knock on people's door and say, hey, can you be my mentor? No. It's a transactional thing. Can you also bring something to the table to that mentor, right? So flexing your skills, being an individual that knows, okay, I'm great at this, however, I do need help at this, and coming to the table and being specific on what is it that you need from individuals, right? So if you're a busy person, listen, Latrice, I've read your bio. Somebody coming to you and you're like, okay, I don't know how to help this person. It's hard to pinpoint, right? So I just advise everyone to find a mentor. And there's two different mentors, right? There's a mentor that vouches for you, that basically says, hey, I'm going to give you the game, things of that nature. But then there's like this sponsor mentor where they're investing, putting their name on the line for you, right? So there's a difference. There's a difference there. So I think having both is very imperative. So I think that that's the tea that I'm gonna give you guys.
So finding a mentor, that's super crucial. I agree with you 100%. And so I'm going over to Latrice now.
I think Veron definitely hit it on the head with a mentor, but also don't be afraid to ask questions. Like they say, a closed mouth don't get fed. If you are not willing to ask the question to something that you don't know because you think that it's not a smart question, then you miss out on opportunities. There are no dumb questions. It doesn't matter what it is, ask it, take that answer, and make it work for you.
Okay. And Ezel.
I would say, one, being humble doesn't mean that you're not confident in your abilities, but being humble and good character. I've just been blown away sometimes by my life and my path and my journey and where my family and I have come from, and so much favor we've had just because of our character. So many people that just think of me and my family and my two siblings, especially myself being the oldest of three siblings, growing up in a rough environment, but not letting that dictate who I am and what I stand for. And I'm just overwhelmed by the support that I get because people say, man, you treat people well, you speak to people right. You're not perfect, but you try to do things the right way. Let me know if you need a recommendation. Let me know if you need somebody, a contact at this place. I know you'll be good for it. I'll put my name on the line for you any day. And you want to have people to say they want to put your name on the line, they'll put their name on the line for you. You don't want to be that person, you ask somebody for a favor or make a contact for you, and they're like, I don't know, man. I don't know if I'm willing to put my name on the line for you. So your reputation is everything. Again, we all are going to make mistakes, but knowing that, a person with just good character and integrity, that can take you a long ways. No amount of money, no amount of anything else that can really replace having good integrity and character.
And
I don't want to blow past that really quickly. Ezel, you hit something that was really important. That character piece, guys, and being humble. When I'm thinking of character, I'm thinking of what are the things that you are doing when no one is watching you, right? Are you reading that extra paragraph? Are you that you probably could take this from your job, but you don't take it, right? Or that you can do X, Y, and Z. It's probably not the best thing to do, but you don't do it, right? I think it's so imperative, that character piece, because literally what doesn't show in the light will eventually show in the light, right? So when you exercise that muscle of just second nature of having good character, it just comes and you wouldn't even have to think about it. And that there's a lot of people that don't exercise that, right? So just doing things when people aren't watching you in the best light, I think is very important.
I love that you went back to that. And so what I want to talk about is something that you both mentioned in your answers, is mistakes, right? And kind of challenges. And so are you all, the type to regret challenges, or do you use them and as fuel for, maybe the future, and kind of do they inform your future decisions? And so I'm going to start with Latrice.
Well, I'll say at Boys and Girls Club, one of the things that they ask you when you're interviewing for the job is, was there ever a time where you had a difficult situation that it didn't pan out for you? So everything is not going to go perfect. So you are going to be challenged in your day-to-day life, but don't let that set you back from reaching the goals that you want. So that's anytime something doesn't work out for me, I'm like, okay, let me sit down, let me evaluate this, let me figure out what I could have done better to make this flow smoother, to make this transition happen. You know, anything that's got something to do with, you know, when we're engaging celebrities and kids, you never want it to be a bad experience for either side. So you are going to do your absolute best to learn from any mistake from the past to make sure that the next thing goes as flawlessly as possible. So I definitely use my challenges to learn how to do it better the next time.
Ezel?
I would say mistakes are an important part of our learning. You know, sometimes you're not, hopefully not consciously making mistakes. You're putting your best effort. You give it 110%, but sometimes something gets missed, or, you know, a T doesn't get crossed or an I doesn't get dotted. And you have to move on and you learn from that. It's the continuous of the same mistake where you kind of get in trouble. But mistakes are the way we learn. You know, what doesn't kill you make you stronger, right? We've all heard that before. So mistakes is a part of the process. It's that mental fortitude, that mental toughness, how not to beat yourself up over it sometimes when we make mistakes. Sometimes the first thing is forgiving ourselves, because we'll beat ourselves up, especially when we expect high expectations and we do things and something doesn't go our way. It hurts us, and we can let that really hold us down. So forgiving ourselves and then taking the next steps to move on and move forward and learn from it.
That's so key. And I've been hearing, and it's been around me a lot lately, is making sure that you allow yourself a little bit of grace. And so it's funny that you just said that. So
Yeah.
it's something that we should really take away. And so now I'm going to throw it over to you, Veron. Mistakes and challenges.
If you're not making mistakes, you're not thinking big enough. You're not pushing yourself, right? It's inevitable. I also work in the world of events. We always plan for the mistake because they will happen, right? It pans down, a mistake will happen, but it's how we recover, it's how we bounce back, it's how we ensure that everybody that's in the vicinity of the mistake, one, probably doesn't even know about it, right? So it's all about just the tenacity to keep going. And just like you said, that grace piece is prevalent right now, because we look at everybody else, right? We look at social media and everybody else's life and how they're doing it. Like, dang, I was supposed to be here at 30, or I'm supposed to be here at this age. And all of that stuff is a hoax, man. You're supposed to make mistakes so you can adapt and pivot and learn and flex the muscles in your brain to say, hey, this is not how I'm supposed to operate. Let me go ahead and move and maneuver. So again, if you're not making mistakes, you're not thinking big enough. You're not making mistakes, you're not expanding your brain big enough. So I say that.
All right, everybody. The dream is in your hands. What does that mean to you? And I'm going over to Latrice.
Okay, the dream is in your hand means to me, and this is a quote that I keep on my phone all the time. Don't let your happenings destroy your happiness. So whatever it is that you want to pursue, to achieve, to make a part of your life's mission, don't let what's going on around you distract you from reaching the goal or planning for your future. Don't let your dreams, don't let your happenings destroy your happiness.
Gems. Here we go. Okay, Ezel?
I would say the dream is in your hands. As I said earlier, no one can put you in a box. The sky's the limit. You can do anything you set your mind to do. It's okay to be different. That's one I always hark on. It's okay to be different. Different is cool. Different is good. Different is you. It's okay to be you. We're all uniquely made. So think outside the box. It's okay. You're not just an athlete. You're not just a student. You're not just whatever, somebody who loves books and loves to read. You can be everything. You can try and play an instrument. You can be in a band. You can write in a school newspaper. You can do whatever you want to do. Just don't allow anybody to put you in a box. Try it, find your passion, and go from there.
Now, I don't know if we heard that. Say that again. It's okay to be what? It's okay to be different.
It's okay to be different. It's okay to be different. Different is good. Different is
That's
in.
right.
Yeah,
I just wanted to repeat that phrase. All right. And Veron, we're coming to you. What does the dream the dream is in your hands? What does that mean to you?
The dream is in your hands. I was trying to think of a cute quote because Latrice came heavy with the quote. Literally the first thing that comes to mind is when is now. When is now? If not now, when? Right? So when start today. You know, whatever it is that you guys want to start it right now, this very second. There's never a right time to start. So just dig deep, figure out what it is that you want to do, be decided. Once you're decided, I think everything else kind of comes in full circle. So it's up to you all to get it done. Nobody, your parents, your mother, your father, it's no one's, obligation to live your life. So when is now is what I'll say.
All right, everybody, there you have it. And so I'm just going to ask you all, where can everybody find you? And I'm going to first throw it over to Ezel. Where can they find you? Where can they follow you?
I'm mainly on Instagram. It's XL22. That's where you can find me at. That's it. I'm kind of simple. I'm not on a lot of social media, but that's typically where you'll find me.
All right.
Yeah.
And Latrice.
Young people can find me at L Darcell Writes on Instagram. So that's LDARSELL Writes.
All right. And Veron.
Be the Truth is my Instagram, BEE_the truth, not duh. No. The truth, the truth. And I'm primarily on LinkedIn. So if you search my name, Veron Clark, that's really where I get busy. I get busy on LinkedIn. So absolutely. Thank you guys.
All right, everybody. Thank you for joining us today. Again, my name is Roberto Ayala, and you can follow me on Roberto L. Ayala. That's on Instagram. Make sure you follow us on LinkedIn and Instagram at Create the Dream Co. and use the hashtag Dream Conference 2021. We want to thank you for joining us today. And that was the conference.